ahora se lo mando. Después, esto va a quedar en YouTube.
Ok.
Entonces después le voy a pasar el link a Sergio para que...
Parte es sobre esta congregación de Shabbat y la otra de Emmanuel.
Boker Tov. Boker Tov. Ode ani lefanecha, melech חי וקיים, שחסרת ונשמעתי בחמלה, מודה אני לפניך, ולחי וקיים. שחסרת ונשמעתי בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך. אני לפניך, ולחי וקיים. שחסרת ונשמעתי בחמלה, מודה אני לפניך, ולחי וקיים. שחסרת ונשמעתי בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה Yada lai 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 lai, yada lai 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 lai, yada lai 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 lai, yada lai 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 lai, yada lai 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 lai. Friends, welcome Shabbat. Let's welcome this morning together. Something beautiful that happens is that microphones cannot compete with your voices. And so if you don't decide that you want to be mindfully present in this space, we are just making noise with instruments and trying to sing, but that's not what we are here for. So let's decide that we're going to take a deep breath, and we are going to start this morning of Shabbat together. You know, a difference between being in Zoom and being in person is that here you are not muted. Here we hear you. And we want to hear you, but we want to create something together. So we take a moment to acknowledge the gift of being alive. We open our Shalom on page 186, as we just said, מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שחסרת ונשמעתי בחמלה. רבה אמונתך, I offer thanks to you, ever living sovereign, that you have restored my soul to me in mercy. How great is your trust. And as we enter this space, we acknowledge the gift of community. We acknowledge the beauty of the things that we can build together. We turn our Siyurim to page 192. אבוא ביתך, אשתחווה לך קודשך, ביראתך. אדוני אהבתי מקום ביתך, ומקום משכן כבודך. ואני אשתחווה ואקרא, אברך לפני אדוני עושי, ואני תפילתי לך, אדוני את רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת אישך. We turn our Siyurim to page 194. We take a moment to focus on our bodies. You might daven the blessing for the well-functioning of our bodies quietly, or you might take a moment for personal meditation and try to think about the vessel of your existence. ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously.
Amen.
And the intersection, that place in which our physical and eternal existence meet. The connection between our bodies and our souls, between our neshima, our breath, and our neshama. I invite you to once again take a deep breath as we turn our Siurim to page 196 for the blessing for our souls.
שנתת לי טהוריי אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהוריי
שהנשמה בקרבי מודה אני לפניך כל זמן שהנשמה בקרבי מודה אני לפניך אדוני אלוהי ואלוהי אבותיי Source of all creation, sovereign of all souls, praise are you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai, asher beyado nefesh kol chai, beruach kol basar ish. We turn our Siurim to page 198 for Birkot HaShachar.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the water.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has created all human beings equal.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me free.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor. We are on page 204 for the blessing for the study of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lasok b'divrei Torah. O Adonai our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths, and the mouths of all your people Israel, so that we, our descendants, and the descendants of all your people Israel may know you, by studying your Torah for its own sake. Blessed are you, Adonai, who teaches Torah to your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל.
We continue on page 206. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's parents, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study, morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
We turn our Sidurim to page 212 for the blessing for the Psukei de Simra.
Baruch Shabbat, V'haya Haolam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hoseh, Bereshit, Baruch Omer, Ve'oseh, Baruch Goseh, U'mekayem, Baruch Merachem, Al Haaretz, Baruch Merachem, Al Habriot, Baruch Meshalem, Zacher Tov L'Reav, Baruch Elahad, V'kayam Lanetzach, Baruch Poder, U'ma'atzir, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Yai, 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 Praise, we extol you and proclaim your sovereignty. For you are the source of life in the universe. One God, life of the universe. Praise and glorious ruler. Your name is eternal. Melech Me'ulam, Vatishbachot. Melech Me'ulam, Vatishbachot. Baruch atah Adonai, Melech Me'ulam, Vatishbachot. Lai 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 lai, yala lai 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 lai. Melech Me'ulam, Vatishbachot. We now turn our Sidurim to page 214. We have the privilege to have this Shabbat the visit of our beloved friend, Cantor Diego Rubinstein from Buenos Aires. So he will be teaching us a melody for Psalm 92, and we are going to try to learn with him.
טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך
The top of page 215. תהילת לדוד, רוממך לא היה מלך, יברך שמך לעולם ועד.
בכל יום אברכך, בלילה שמך לעולם ועד.
גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, בגדולתו אין חקר.
דור לדור ישבח מעשיך, וגבורותיך יגידו.
על כבודותיך, בדברי נפלותיך עשיך.
בעזוז נורותיך יאמרו, וגדולתך אספרנה.
זכר טובך יביאו, בצדקתך ירננו.
חנון ברחום אדוני, ערך אפיים וגדול חסד.
טוב אדוני לכל, ברחמיו על כל מעשיו.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, בגבורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו, וכבוד עדל מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
עיני כל אליך יישברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו.
פותח את ידך, ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון ירב יעשה, בית שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומע אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיע. תהילת אדוני ידבר בי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם, לעולם ועד. ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם.
נחיה מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה, הללויה, הללויה. Page 218, Psalm 150. God of the first and the last, God of all creatures, Master of all generations, who is praised in a multitude of praises, who guides the world with abundant loving kindness and all creatures with mercy. Adonai neither slumbers nor sleeps. God awakens the sleeping and rouses those who slumber, gives speech to the mute. And God loosens the bonds of captives. God supports the fallen and strengthens those who are bent over. You alone do we acknowledge. On page 220. ורגלינו קלות כהיעלות. in the power of your strength, great in the glory of your name, mighty forever, awesome in amazing deeds. The ruler who sits on a high and exalted throne. We are on page 222. Shochen Ad, which is the end of this section of this Psukei de Simbra, followed by the blessing that concludes the Psukei de Simbra.
שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים נבוא תהילה בפי ישרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך בלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדש ובמקלות ריבות עמך בית ישראל בעיני יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו שהושבחה הלב וזמרה עוז ממשלה נצח גדולה גבורה תהילה ותפארת קדושה ומלכות ברכות והוראות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוקר בשירי זמרה מלך מלכי העולמים יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמתי ורח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחי גיחון וביומייכון וחיי תכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ברחמתה תמיד אמרה אמרו
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם יוצר אור ובורא חושך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל המאיר לארץ ולדנים מלא ברחמים וטוב ומחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית. How numerous are your works, Adonai, in wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands and for the lights you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot.
Amen.
And as we turn our Siurim to page 230, we think of the presence of an unconditional love in our lives. And the beauty about the blessings that lead us toward the Shema is that the ways in which we experience love in our lives are very different. So I invite you to think for a moment about what makes you feel loved. I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and try to picture, try to recognize what looks like, what feels like the presence of unconditional love in your life. And as we try to grasp that presence, that love, we let that love become a light that surrounds us. Light that as we breathe fills our system, our bodies, with the certainty that this world was created for us. Open our eyes to your wisdom, to the ability to recognize the legacies of love that we have in our lives. Guide us in peace on the four corners of the earth. Help us find integrity, wholeness, unity within ourselves, so we can find connection to fellow human beings and find you. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love, with love. Baruch atah Adonai, Abocher, be'amo Israel, be'ahava.
Amen.
I'm about to take a deep breath. On page 232 from the Shema.
Shema,
Yisrael, Adonai, Eloheinu, Adonai, Echad.
We continue on page 234 with the chanting of Valhafta. Please join me. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובמלאכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם נאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. We continue in English in the middle of page 236. Adonai said to Moses as follows, "Speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all the commandments of Adonai and observe them, so you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful urge. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אמת ביציב באהוב בחביב ונורא בדיר בטוב ביפה, דבר עשה עלינו לעולם בעת. We continue with the silent reading over page 238. In great joy, Moshe, Miriam, and all Israel responded with song to you, all of them proclaiming, "Who is like you, O God, mi hamocha, Ba'elim Adonai." We're on page 240. To page 242 for Tfilat Amidah, and we turn toward Jerusalem, our eternal capital, and also the symbol of our constant search for emotional, spiritual center. I'm going to follow along the millennia-old words of our tradition, in addition to try to find your Tfilah Shebalev, the prayer of your heart. Page 242.
Adonai, Sefatai tiftach, Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tov. וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה, רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, תומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. מלמד אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה המתים.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר,
קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, אלוהים כל הארץ, כבודו.
אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני מכבודו. אחד אלוהינו, אלוהינו ומתנו, ומושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני קרוביו. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, לעולם בציון, לדוד הדוד. הללויה. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
ודור,
לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך, קדושתך נגיד. ושמך אלוהינו, בפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם בארץ.
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך, קדושתך נגיד. ושמך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם, לעולם בארץ.
ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
מרדכי שבשבת וכל יום נקדש בי, ונתביא ונלך. כן, נזכר את השכל למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי בהגיון ליבי, לפניך אדוני, צורי בגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. We are at the bottom of page 260.
Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru
Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru
Adonai Oseh Shalom. Blessed are you, Adonai, maker of peace. I think we are ready to start our Torah service. So, if you don't mind, we will turn our series to page 362. I am unsure who is taking the Torah from the ark. Rabbi Daniel. Is Rabbi Daniel the word of God? Good. Rabbi Daniel is right here.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'en kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai
מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם עמים.
אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. כי מציון תצא תורה,
כי מציון תצא תורה, תורת אדוני בירושלים.
ברוך שנתן תורה, ברוך שנתן
תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
אחד אלוהינו, גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמו.
אחד אלוהינו, גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמו.
גדול אדוני איתי, ונרוממה שמו יחדיו.
מזמור לדוד, אהו לאדוני בנעלים, אהו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, אהו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש. כל אדוני המים, אל הכבוד מילים, אדוני, אדוני, אלוהים דוד. כל אדוני כל אדוני יחיל מדבר, יחיל אדוני מדבר קדש. כל אדוני יכול לירון, ויחסון יערון, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבו, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבו. אדוני למברור יחשב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. יללי לי לי, יללי לי לי לי, יללי לי לי, יללי לי לי, יללי לי לי, אדוני עוז לעמיו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. You may be seated. Good Shabbos everyone, Shabbat Shalom.
שבת שלום.
Shabbos, Shabbos. There are lots of chairs here in the front. You know, if you're wondering, as Rabbi Einstein was saying, there are always a few empty chairs in the first row. Shabbat Shalom, and Boker Tov, good Shabbos and good morning. So, first I want to acknowledge two things, and then I'd love to invite Rev Daniel to have a quick conversation about the Parsha, and as I will acknowledge right now, Elaine will be sharing the Var Torah, and she will be speaking. She's our big speak today. And it's a beautiful thing that we have that space, but more than that, it's beautiful that we have you as such an active part of this community, and you are a big part of the identity of this community. I think that our community is very grateful to have you always here, and to be for you to be a part of our minyan. And in that context, you will be sharing some Torah in a few more minutes. I want to acknowledge also that Cantor Diego Rubinstein is here, who came all the way from Argentina, and that later on we will have a concert. Our musicians will play with Cantor Diego. Cantor Diego will be leading the band, the troupe, the people of Israel in music. So we encourage you to stay. And if you haven't heard Cantor Diego, so I think you will enjoy that very, very much. I also want to acknowledge that Rabbi Einstein is here joining us this morning. Rabbi Einstein, for those that don't know him, is there anyone who doesn't know Rabbi Einstein? Okay, so you all know that he is an institution, right? Good. So he's an institution for liberal Jews in the United States for sure, but he's a special and very personal figure for rabbis and communities here, and many people that join the Jewish people here in Orange County. So welcome, Rabbi. Cantor Sharon is here. We had so many remarkable people sitting here. All came from you, for you, Elaine. It's Shabbos and Elaine. They come together today. So where is Rabbi Daniel? Do you have a microphone? Okay.
Don't know if I have a working
So
microphone.
we'll have a quick conversation about the Torah portion, and then we will introduce Elaine. And we're not going to hold you too much because there's a lunch, and we are aware of timing, so don't worry. If you are wondering when it's going to end, just in time for lunch. Don't worry about it. Don't stress. So I noticed that you wrote a post on Facebook about this Torah portion. I wanted to ask you about it.
This is when I get in trouble for my social media.
No. Well, yes. So do you want to share what you wrote and why you wrote what you wrote, and
Yeah,
we can get started from there?
I think, in this week's Torah portion, we're painted with this fascinating scene of Moshe coming down the mountain, all excited to give over the tablets with the Ten Commandments to the Jewish people. And of course, he's greeted with an act of idolatry that is such an affront to what he was trying to do, that we have this scene of him either throwing down or dropping the tablets. And one of the midrashic pictures that the rabbis paint is that Moshe wasn't actually angry, right? It wasn't this act of having tablets and chucking them to the floor in anger, but that he became so weak in that moment, right? All the strength and excitement that he was ready to take to the people with his new ideas, the life force was sucked out of the tablets, and they became simply two stones that were then too big for him to burden.
And you say also in your post.
So I think it's interesting.
You also, because I know you said you describe also Moshe having almost not a prophecy, but a prediction of what the future could be. And in that context, I think you said that he couldn't hold the tablets.
Well, one of the things that I think
I
Judaism...
actually read the post.
There we go.
Nobody told me. I just read the post, and we are using this post. You understand in a moment. I think it has lots of interesting perspective to discuss this Torah portion. So just for us to have this beautiful idea that he shared in mind. So
one of the things that Judaism brought to the world is the power of ideas, right? I think that's something our tradition has recognized for thousands of years. And ideas have a dualistic power to them, right? An idea that can be used for very good can also be used for the opposite, can also be used for terrible, detrimental things. And I think in that moment, Moses understood the potential power of religion and religious ideas to be used for intense good, but also intense bad. And in that moment, perhaps he got so weakened, right? He became so temporarily disillusioned with his entire project of what he was trying to do because he saw the potential evils that could come out of these ideas if misinterpreted, that he had a temporary moment of lapse and simply the strength was sucked out of him. Now, of course, he quickly bounced back, but I think that's a very important moment for our view of the power of ideas, both in terms of positive and negative.
Thank you. And it reminded me of a different midrash that addresses the exact same moment with a very similar idea as well, which is this moment in which Moses is holding the tablets and he can't hold them anymore. They become too heavy. And the rabbis say that one of the reasons they become unbearable is because they have divine weight. And they couldn't be held by Moses in any event. And that the tablets, to some extent, needed to be broken because they were written by God. And that society couldn't function with the presence of the divine as an intrinsic part of our law, that we needed to somehow find a way to rewrite those laws so we could function as a society. And therefore, the tablets became unbearable. Moses couldn't hold them anymore. He dropped the tablets. But what's more beautiful, and we know that later on the tablets will be rewritten, is that there is a midrash that says that God whispered in Moses' ear and said, "Ishar koach," well done, because that was the idea. And your post made me think about this idea that so often we hold our values to be almost a matter of divine power, our political ideas, right? Like we become fanatics of what we hold to be true. And that's unbearable. Like when the truth and even our faith becomes directly linked with the divine, that is the only truth that can exist, it becomes an unbearable fact or argument for the society that we are aiming to build. And in that moment, I think that we need to drop the tablets. You need to let the tablets go. I see you kind of.
Yeah, well, the tablets almost had to be broken because the Israelites made a categorical error. The error is we can't capture something infinite in something finite or in something physical, right? This is the mistake that all ancient empires made when they tried to make humans, right, Pharaoh, the Assyrian emperor, into divine beings, right? The whole idea of a God who creates humans in his image means God is infinite, the potential of human beings are infinite. And any attempt to try to reduce that into anything physical is going to be an abrogation of that entire order. And so the throwing down of the tablets is almost like proving the point, even the tablets aren't important, right? Even the physical rituals or ramifications of our tradition, that's not an end in itself. They're means to an end. And they're means to an end, and if the end is not being carried out, right, the morals, the ethics, the ideas, right, the power of that comes with all these things, then these tablets might as well just be rocks, right? Rocks that could crumble when they fall to the floor.
We need to start teaching Midrash in Congress, right? Like, we don't want to Congress. So I want to share one more idea and then introduce Elaine in that context. There's another Midrash. I'm here. So there is another Midrash that says that after dropping the tablets with the reminiscences of the broken tablets, Moses went and picked up every single one of the broken pieces, and the broken tablets were kept together later on with the new tablets, with the whole and new tablets. And I think that even when we experience brokenness, even when we need to let go of some truth, we can go later on and gather the pieces, the broken pieces, and keep them with the new system, with the new tablets. And I think that the connection between the new and the broken is what gives us the integrity to live our lives. And in that context, not yet, but in a second. In that context, this Torah portion, all this situation happens in the context of Moses seeing the golden calf, seeing what's the outcome of using good resources to build the wrong thing. Then the time that Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, are supposed to be building a communal home, a sacred space for all of them, they build something banal and irrelevant, and they put their resources and their hopes in the wrong place. And when we were speaking with Elaine about this Torah portion, we spoke about the beauty of looking back at your journey. You have twice of the time that the children of Israel were in the desert. You know, you're 80, they were for 40 years. So you went back and forth from the desert. And what a beautiful thing for those that know you and know your journey, that we know that you hold a mishkan, a sanctuary, a tabernacle. And with that, we want to hear about how do you build a tabernacle?
Okay.
I'm going to give you a microphone. Don't you want to be a bit more close?
I guess I'll take it. Well, before I begin,
You need the microphone. And you want to stay a bit farther in there?
I don't care, wherever. No, I should hold on to something because I'm still recovering.
You're right.
That's good. Okay. Before I begin, and I'm a little bit verklempt today because all of you are here for Shabbat and to honor me, but also, I'm going to lose it. On Zoom, there are people. I'm sorry. Sometimes these are tears of joy. My daughter, Leora, my granddaughter, Leah, and very special people from Germany, Katrina and Joseph. And Katrina's grandfather was Chaim's adopted father in this country. So my world has come together with all of you here today. And if I cry along the way on my journey, these are tears of joy. So, first of all, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I would like to begin my Dvar Torah this Shabbat with the Shakianu Prayer, thanking God for bringing me to this moment of celebrating my 80 years with my spiritual home, Temple Beth Tikvah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed art you, Adonai, our God, guiding force of the universe, who has kept me alive, sustained me, and brought me to this season. How appropriate that this week's Torah portion is Ki Tisa, which speaks about the building of the Mishkan, the sanctuary in the Sinai, before our journey through the desert to Eretz Israel. It also speaks about the taking of the census of Am Yisrael, that through the census we are to be counted by our equal contribution of a half a shekel to the building of the Mishkan. We are to build a holy sanctuary in the midst of our experience at Sinai. And in the midst of this divine moment, when Moses is up at Mount Sinai, receiving the 10 Commandments from God, Am Yisrael is building not a Mishkan, but a golden calf below. What does all this mean in terms of what I'd like to share with you today? We are all, both you and I, a part of our unique experience at Sinai. Am Yisrael, from Sinai until today, have taken the message of building a holy sanctuary wherever we go as part of our Jewish legacy for Jewish survival. We have been given freedom of choice to either build a Mishkan or a golden calf. I believe that our survival as Jews depends upon making the right choice. Together with the congregants of Temple Beth Tikvah here in northern Orange County, and with I'm going to lose it now, guys, and with congregants at Congregación Emmanuel de Buenos Aires. I'm sorry. I have seen the results of communities creating holy spaces where a Mishkan is built in the midst of Am Yisrael. These communities have been a part of a census, which means that they have counted and contributed so that their communities survive. And thanks to many things in my life, I have survived to 80. I feel very blessed, and though many of you know some of my life, I thought it would be appropriate to take you on the journey of my life, the story of a wandering Jew who found her Mishkan, her spiritual home, right here at TBT. Phase 1. My journey in life did not start in the Sinai Desert, but rather in the city of Los Angeles, where I was born in 1941 into a Jewish family whose roots go back to both Ukraine and Poland. But my parents were both born here in the United States. My family and extended family gave me the values of family, kindness, and doing mitzvot, although not put into a religious context, but definitely within a Jewish context. Phase 2. Excuse me as I move the pages. Get to phase 2. No, I'm missing a page. Hold on. Phase 2. At the young age of 17, I attended a Jewish camp here in Southern California, Brandeis Camp Institute, in the summer of 1959. The experience at BCI, as it was called, transformed me and helped me understand who I was in the context of being a Jew. I integrated my family's values into understanding Jewish values. I made a commitment that summer that I would spend the rest of my life building on the Jewish knowledge and Jewish experiences I had received that summer. I knew that if and when I had children, that I would have to do more in order to have them survive as Jews in America. And of course, everything fell into place that summer when I met, guess who? Chaim, a very cute Israeli who certainly was very different than anyone I had ever met. By the way, I have a picture that I'm not going to show you here, but if you want to see it afterwards, I will show you Chaim Asa, looking pretty cute. Dating Chaim was my first introduction to synagogue life, since I was not raised in a synagogue. Chaim was in rabbinical school and was given a pulpit in West Covina as a student rabbi. So our dates began Friday night, Shabbat dinners prepared early by me so that we could get on the freeway in Los Angeles and get to the synagogue in West Covina in time for services. I was labeled by the congregation the girl who came for the ride and became the bride. Phase 3. We married the following June of 1960, and off we went to Cincinnati, Ohio, where Chaim and I started our student life and where our eldest daughter, Aviva, was born in 1962. Chaim received his smicha, his rabbinic ordination, in 1963, and off we went to faraway Argentina with Chaim's new title as the Executive Director of the World Union for Progressive Judaism. A big title, but very little support from our movement. We were basically on our own. We were originally sent to a community founded by German Jews, but Chaim soon realized that he was going to have to part ways in order to create something new. We were now true chalutzim, pioneers in creating a new Mishkan, a Reformed congregation in Buenos Aires that didn't exist before. A new language, more children added to the Asa family, working with youth, creating Jewish summer camps, establishing Congregación Emmanuel de Buenos Aires in our backyard until we could find a physical place that we could call a Mishkan. I learned a great deal about Jewish community life, which would guide me in the future. Phase 4. We arrived to Temple Beth Tikvah the summer of 1966 to a group of committed Jews who had come together to create a Jewish synagogue in northern Orange County, and they were looking for a rabbi. The timing was perfect for us, since it was time for us to stop being wandering Jews. By then, we had 3 children, and California, here we come. We knew right away that this was the Jewish community where we would put down roots, raise our children, work hard, and build and nurture so that this community, this part of Am Yisrael, would grow and provide a home for Jews living here. Phase 5. The Asa family grew to 4 children, which kept us very busy. Thankfully, we spent many summers at Camp Swig and 2 sabbatical years in Israel. These family experiences gave us the opportunity to just celebrate our Jewish life apart from the demands of work and community. These experiences strengthened our family, and I am forever grateful that we were given the time and space and opportunity. For me personally, I was able to attend Ulpan on our first, that's where I learned Hebrew, on our first sabbatical year in 1975-76, and I was able to improve my Hebrew. Our children went to public school, and Chaim enjoyed not being programmed. He was a happy camper. On the second sabbatical in 1982-83, I was able to attend an amazing institute of higher Jewish learning called Pardes, where I was able to study Jewish texts and spend the year studying and living Judaism. What a gift. This was a very important phase of my growth as a Jew, building on my other Jewish experiences. Our time in Israel obviously had an impact on our children, since 2 of them and their families live there, and my other children and grandchildren are very connected to Israel, and my son's daughter and family live there as well. From Sinai to Eretz Israel, a part of the Asa family has fulfilled the dream. As for me, the wandering Jewish syndrome has taken me to holy communities throughout the world, where I have learned what it is to be a part of Am Yisrael, the people of Israel. We are all family, connected and responsible for one another, whether we live in Israel, the United States, Canada, South Africa, Ukraine, Russia, Europe, South America, Ethiopia, or any other place where Jews live. I am forever thankful to TBT for allowing me and Chaim to be a partner with you in helping to build a Mishkan here in northern Orange County. May TBT continue to be a source of strength as we continue to serve the needs of the Jewish community in Orange County. A few more thank yous are part of this 80th year celebration for me. First of all, is Lynette here, or is she out working? Lynette, are you here? Okay, this is for you. First of all, to Lynette, who coordinated all of the details of this day so that so many of you could participate with me. I know your efforts, Lynette, and your amazing committee are rewarded by all those who are here today, either physically or on Zoom. And to Marty Baker-Jordan, who has worked so hard to coordinate a memory album for me, so I have been told, I haven't seen it yet, so that people could share their stories and memories with me. I know that each time I open and read all of your memories, that I will understand what being part of Am Yisrael means, that you are all a part of my family. Unfortunately, Marty couldn't be here today due to health issues. Hopefully, she is on Zoom, and I think she is. And last but not least, thank you, Rabbi Nico, who has coordinated with Cantor Diego, where are you, Cantor? Gabby, wherever she is. Okay. And the ensemble of musicians who will be celebrating musically with all of us after the Kiddush lunch. So please, for those who are here and have reservations, stay for the Kiddush lunch and the musical celebration afterwards. And for those on Zoom, come back and join us for the special musical celebration a bit later. And a special where is Noga and Nico? B'atzlacha to you, Rabbi Nico, and your family as you journey north to your new home in your new Mishkan. Thank you for all that you have given to TBT, and you know you will always be a part of this Mishkan here. And to all of you, either here physically or on Zoom, thank you for allowing me to celebrate my 80th year with all of you. Shabbat Shalom. I hope it wasn't too long.
Okay, here I am back. Let's get started with the reading of Parashat Ki Tisa.
There's one Mishkan you forgot, and that is the way you are continuing into the future with a congregation in Israel called Zemer Hazayit. I'm going to make you cry again. Your daughter Aviva belongs to a community called Efrat, and in the city of Efrat, women have a special role. And with the legacy that you and my Abba Chaim are leaving, even during your life, you are creating that next Mishkan in which women, as well as men, can express their Judaism and keep Judaism alive in a liberal way, in a meaningful way. And the Mishkan.
What's the word I'm looking for? The sanctuary will be named for Chaim. So I'm very, very proud.
We are all blessed to have you as part of our Jewish home as well. And so we begin this week's Torah portion. Yamod Harav Shalom Yaakov ben Shaya Zalman Vizelda for the first Aliyah, Rabbi Stephen Einstein, my teacher.
Are we live here? This one is no, it's not. Here. This is live. Thank you. Well, as a rabbi, I have to say a couple of words. I will control myself because I'm aware of the lunch coming. But it is such a pleasure and a joy to be able to be with you, Elaine, on this simcha. You have been a dear friend to Robin and me. She sends her love to you today. We've spent time together here in Orange County, in Palm Springs, in Israel, where our two congregations actually did a joint trip many years ago. And you have been a mainstay of not only of this congregation, but of the Jewish community here at large, and continue. And Admei Abba Esraim. This is such a special time. I love the service, okay? My only regret is that I didn't have a chance to talk to Rabbi Nico before, and that I wasn't literally up here with you guys. Because for me, the music is what uplifts me. And Gabby, what a blessing you are, not only to the group here, but to Am Yisrael, with your voice and your ruach that you lend to all of us, and the musicians here, and Rabbi Nico with his words and his guitar, and he always gives such kavod to me. It means a great deal. And I wish you and your family the very best. It's a tremendous loss for this congregation and our community, but a blessing for Am Yisrael, that you will continue your wonderful work, and to be here with many students when you start giving your thanks to the people who were most essential. Of course, they were both my students, and many others. And my dear friend, we have so many leaders in the Jewish community here. We have Rabbi Miriam, we have Rabbi Daniel. We're honored to have Cantor Diego here. And, of course, Cantor Shannon, McGrady, Bain, and Ken, and so many others. And to be able to speak with Lila. We have been at so many union functions and so on. It's a joy and a pleasure. And God willing, I'll be able to come back. Maybe I'll be able to come up. I'm not looking for the job. Please. I am very happily retired, but the joy would be to be able to lead a service with you. Oh my God. Okay, I'm ready now to do the blessing.
I said the same thing about being retired, and look what happened.
Yeah, right. Okay. Baruch hu et Adonai habarach. Baruch Adonai habarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Chanting Torah is and living.
Vayomer hine anochi koret berit naget kolamecha ase niflaot asher lo nivreyu bekol haaretz uvechol hagoim Veraat kal hayam asher ata vekirbo et mase Adonai ki norahu asher ani ase imach shemor lecha at Asher ani mitzavcha hayom hanini koresh mepanecha et haimori veka ni nani vecha hiti vecha pirizi vecha hi V'chayevusim Hishamomer lecha Ben tikrot berit leyoshev haaretz Ase ataha ba'elach Ben ihye lemok Kesh bekir be'abach Ki et mizbehotam titotsun Ve'et metzabetam tishberun Ve'et asherav tichrotun Ki La tishtachaveh leal achare ki ha Adonai kana shemo al kavachu ben tichrot berit leyoshev haaretz vezanu Acharei Elohehem Vezavehu leolachahem Vekara lecha vechalta mezavchom Elakachta mibenotav levanecha Vezanu benotav acharei Elohehen vehizeno et banecha acharei Elohehen Elohim esa מסכה לא תעשה לך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet b'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yasher Koach. Ya'amod, Echazan ber Moshe ben Avraham Yaakov, Cantor Diego Rubenstein. Chanting Torah will be Daphna Guterman.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל עמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. את חג המצות תשמור 7 ימים תאכל מצות אשר ציוויתיך למועד חודש האביב. בחודש האביב יצאת ממצרים, כל פטר רחם לי וכל מקנך תזכר, פטר שור ושה ופטר חמור תפדה בשה, ואם לא תפדה וערפתו. כל בכור בניך תפדה, ולא יראו פניי ריקם. 6 ימים תעבוד, וביום השביעי תשבות, ובחריש ובקציר תשבות. וחג שבועות תעשה לך, ביקורי קציר חיטים. וחג אסיף תקופת השנה, 3 פעמים בשנה יראה כל זכוריך, ואת פני אדוני אלוהי ישראל. כי אוריש גויים מפניך, והרחבתי את גבוליך, ולא יחמוד איש את ארצך בעלותך, להראות את פני אדוני אלוהיך 3 פעמים בשנה. לא תשחט על החמץ דם זבחי, ולא ילין לבוקר זבח חג הפסח. ראשית ביקורי אדמתך תביא, בית אדוני אלוהיך. לא תבשל גדי בחלב אמו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורתו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
יעמדו לעלייה שלישית קנטור שושנה שמחה בת אברהם ושרה וישראל בן שמחה ומרים, Cantor Shannon and Ken Bain.
And chanting Torah will be Mark Philowitz.
So an interesting idea that we just read is that 3 times a year, Torah is saying you will see Pnei Adonai, you will see God's face. And some could think that you might see God's face because you are going to the Mishkan or because you are going up to Jerusalem. I just want to point out that the purpose of the regalim is actually, regal means leg, and are these pilgrimage holidays. it's the idea of showing up, and it's gathering as community and seeing everyone there. And I think that one of the most beautiful ideas in our tradition is that we see the face of God when we actually see each other. Let's get started with the third aliyah.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, Katav lecho er hadvarim ha'ele, ki al pi hadvarim ha'ele karati, itcha berit v'et Yisrael, vayehi sham am Adonai, 40 yom v'arba'im laila, lechem lo achal v'mayim lo shata, Vayichtov al haluchot divrei habrit asher et hadvarim vayehi bederech al shem echar Sinai ushnei luchot ha'edut b'yad Moshe berito min chachar u'Moshe lo yada ki Levanti ot panav v'davro ito, v'yara Haron kol b'nei Yisrael et Moshe b'nei Karan olor panai v'yiru migeshet elav, v'yikra elechem Moshe v'yashuvo elav Aharon v'chol hanoshim v'eda, V'yadaber Moshe Aleichem, V'yacharei Kain, Nikshu Kol Yibnei Yisrael, V'yitzavim, Et Kol Ha'asher Diber Adonai Ir B'char Sinai.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet, V'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Yasher koach. Tamod, Esther Basha, Bat Avraham v'Yocha, Elaine Asa.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayachal Moshe midaber itam vayiten al panav masaber uvevo Moshe lifnei Adonai ledaber itam yasir hamizbeh yasir et masveh an tzit Atato Yatza V'Raber B'nei Yisrael Et Asher Yitzuveh Et Asher Yitzuveh V'ro'o B'nei Yisrael Et B'nei Moshe Ki Karan Or P'nei Moshe V'ashiv Moshe Hamesabeh Hapanav Ad Bo'o L'daber Ito.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Esther Shabbat
ואימותינו הרב יצחק ויעקב, שרה רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך את כל אשר עלו לתורה לכבוד התורה, לכבוד השבת, לכבוד הקהילה שלנו. May one who bless our ancestors will bless all those that came up to the Torah in honor of Shabbos, the Torah, our community. May God send blessing to all of you. May God send its blessing of protection, rescue from any trouble or distress, from any illness, minor or serious. And may God bless you with success in all your endeavors, together with all Israel, and let us say, we also take a moment to, while the Torah is open, to acknowledge those that are dealing with illness in their bodies, in their souls, those that are dealing with addictions. ושברך אבותינו ואימותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את החולים. May the one who blessed our ancestors will bless those that are experiencing illness. And if you have a name that you like to share, you can do so as we go around the room. Just bring them. And of course, if you are joining us in social media, through Zoom, Facebook or YouTube, we invite you to share the names of those that you are thinking of. On the chat section, may the blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send to all of them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say,
Amen.
Wish to all of them refuah shlema. And now, yes, please rise for Agva and Glila. בסוד התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ויד משה.
שלושה דברים בעולם
שלושה דברים, שלושה דברים,
על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים,
על התורה ועל העבודה ועל וגמילות חסדים. It is a tree of life for all those who hold fast to it, and those that are committed to holding Torah becomes seekers of a path that we believe leads to joy and shalom. All the ways of Torah are peaceful ways. And as we think of the Torah, we think of the truth that we hold dear. We say, return us to you, Adonai, and we will return. Shivenu Adonai Elecha Benashuva. Renew our days as of in days of old. We turn our Sidurim to page 588 as we acknowledge that the paths, the many paths for return, for reconnection, they all begin from within our hearts. Adonai, Hu Elohim, Ve'ashevota, El levavecha, Ki Adonai, Hu Elohim, Ve'nemar, Ve'haya Adonai, Melech al kol haaretz, Vayomaru, Vayomaru, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo, U'shemo, U'shemo echad. You may be seated. We now take a moment to acknowledge mourners among our community. We acknowledge those during the first 7 days of mourning Shiva. We invite you to rise and to write the names of those that you're remembering in the comment section. Those that are during the first 30 days of mourning Shloshim. Zachary Irvine. We acknowledge those during the cycle of the first year of mourning. First year. And Rita Silverstein. We acknowledge those that are commemorating a yahrzeit this week, the anniversary of someone's passing by this time of the year, years past. If you have a name that you'd like to share, please do so. Let's do that as I point in your direction so we can hear everybody. Now you can support our fellows who are standing or sitting, joining us with your voices and or your hearts for Kaddish Avelim, Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. התגדל בהתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברה חירותי, בימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, באמרו אמן.
Amen.
יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך, בישתבח, ביתפאר, ביתרומם, ביתנשא, ביתהדר, ביתעלה, ביתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמילם בעלמה, באמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, בחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, באמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, באמרו אמן. May the memories of your dear ones be always a blessing in your life. יהיה זכרם ברוך. You may be seated. As a few quick announcements, as we conclude the service, I want to acknowledge that Melissa, where are you, Melissa? Prepared an incredible challah. So I want all of you. She even put flowers in the challah. I don't want to share too much information, but I want all of you, as you finish the service, to go straight into looking at the challah. Before you eat the challah, just be intentional about that. And the reason I'm sharing that is because I'm kind of joking, but not joking. There's so many efforts that were put into trying to share some love with Elaine and trying to create some recognition with that love. So you'll see that in the lunch, there are many details that somehow tell the story of different people that have beautiful connections and deep connections with Elaine. So we are very grateful for that. And so as we conclude the service, take a look at the challah and think of all the love that went into that preparation for Elaine. And the same thing when we have lunch and there are all kind of surprises prepared for lunch. After lunch, we're going to get together here and we're going to be playing not my playlist, not Gabriel's playlist. Kind of, we did put some of our style there. Like we couldn't help it, but it's well, in whatever proportions. It's a John Wee.
The royal we.
Not royal. So we did put some of our style, but this is Elaine's playlist with all kind of things that we needed to do some research for also, or at least me. So we'll have some Jewish music and American music and even some Argentinian music. So we have some Argentinian people, some American people, and some Jewish people. So it will work out. So we are confident that we got it, Elaine. So we encourage all of you to stay for the next couple of hours and celebrate with us. And now we will turn our Sidurim to page 631, and we will conclude our service mixing some Hebrew and Ladino with Enkel Eloheinu. And we invite you to, if you feel comfortable doing so, to please rise.
No como nuestro Dios, no como nuestro Señor, no como nuestro Rey, no como nuestro Salvador.
Salvador.
Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
We ask you to go through the check-in table as you try to get into the lunch. Just try to keep business clear with Melissa Bishop Gorman. Shabbos, everyone.